Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's analysis. We are in the fourth quarter of this year, 2022, starting the first week of October for Forex trading, Forex, commodities, indexes, stock CFDs, and crypto. So I hope you had a good week last week, and I will share my review of the trade setups that I went through in last week's video, and we'll see how everything turned out. And I will be sharing my trade setups for this coming first week of October. Just briefly, these are my trade setups. Remember, this is my perspective, what I see happening in the market, and I'm not recommending or suggesting that you take the same trades. You can if you want, but this is not financial advice. This is strictly an educational and sharing video. It's up to you to take your trades, manage your risk, protect your capital, and use good common sense. All right, it's up to your abilities. I will share with you the entry prices I have for my pending orders, but it's up to you to place your stop loss, protect your capital, and to also place your take profit according to your own strategy, your own port size. Okay, the capital that you have invested, that's up to you. I'm just sharing with you how I see the markets unfolding and the trade setups that I'm looking at. So let's jump into the chart and have a look at the review and see what happened last week. So having a review of last week, what we looked at for the trade setups. This is the chart as it is now. This is how we closed on the last Friday. We still have resistance at 1680 and 1696. We have support at 1660, and that's exactly where it closed on Friday with the close of the U.S. market. Then below that we have support at 1640, below that 1628, and then 1606. Basically, if you look on the daily chart, gold has been going sideways for quite a while, bouncing off of that 1680 zone. Did drop down last week to quite a low price there. What did we get? 16, I believe it was 1614 was the low. And we're just waiting to see which way it's going to go, really. Is it going to break 1600? Is it going to go back up to 1700? Well, the bulls want to close above 1682, between 1682 and 1696, and the bears want to close below 1656. And so far, neither one of those things has happened. So the bulls and the bears, they're really fighting it out. A lot of indecision in the market. So we just have to wait and see how this is going to unfold. And I will share my trade setup for this upcoming week after we finish the review. So looking at the Euro US, I did have a sell limit on this one, and that is still good. It did execute on Thursday, late Thursday, when the US market closed, and then it went up into a loss, slight loss. Okay, did not hit my stop loss, and then came back down into profit, and then went right back up to the exact price where the sell limit executed on Thursday. So just a lot of up and down sideways movement there with the Euro US. Now this is still a good trade. I'm holding on to this one, okay, and I'll share with you my trade setup for this upcoming week, whether we want to have another pending order or what we're going to do. The odd US, well, with the big drops that we saw in the previous week, my limits were a little bit far away, so the odd US sell limit did not open. That was no trade. It just continued down. And then the New Zealand US was the same. All right, no trade on that one. It continued down. And the pound US was the same. All right, it did come up a little bit, not quite reaching the sell limit though, which I had at 1.1310. Really, everybody remembers we had that big crash of the pound, got down to $1.03, 1.03, and then the central bank jumped in and to support the currency, the pound, and it did make a good climb up, but didn't quite get to the pending order that I had in place there, the sell limit. So no trade on that one. Then the odd JPY, the sell limit that I had did not execute, so that was no trade on that one. And then the CAD JPY, the same. CAD JPY, let me see. Oh yeah, okay, that got quite close to the sell limit there. In fact, Yeah, some are telling me that it did execute, some are saying that it didn't execute, because it actually touched exactly 106.00, and that was on, I believe that was on early Thursday. Yeah, early Thursday when the market opened, we had a high of 106.002. So that might have executed with your setup, or it might not have. And if it did, then you're still in good profit. And I would be holding that trade. The Swiss JPY, okay, the sell limit that I had, unfortunately we got stopped out on that one. It did execute on Wednesday, but then went way out of, way beyond the stop loss that I had, and came back down and then went into profit. So we have an opportunity to get back into that if it's going to continue the bearish run. Sometimes that happens. And then finally the GBP JPY, the sell limit that I had on that did execute, but unfortunately the stop loss was hit, and so that one is gone, and that has stayed up in the area where it, after it hit the stop loss, continued up just a little bit. All right, so that was what happened last week. Not a very successful week, but you know, the previous week we had a really good week, and that's just the way it is sometimes. So that's all. It's all about protecting your capital, using a stop loss. You know, if it's not working out the way we expected it to, then just get out of the trade and look for another trade setup, maybe another currency pair, and just move on. Okay, so let's have a look at what's coming up for this first week of October, the beginning of the fourth quarter of 2022. So before we look at the trade setups that I have for this upcoming week, it's always prudent to look at the news that's going to be coming out. How are the fundamentals going to affect the movement of currencies? And we have some really high impact news coming this week, starting tomorrow. Okay, it's a little bit unusual to get much news on Monday. Sometimes there's never any, but tomorrow we do have. All right, so we have something on the Swiss franc, we have something on the US dollar. Then really big news to watch for will be on Tuesday, when you have the interest rate. The central bank is going to announce whether or not they're going to raise the interest rate or not, and it is expected that they're going to put up the interest rate by 50 basis points. So that's bound to have a high impact on the movement of the Australian dollar. And then on Wednesday we have the New Zealand dollar, and they're going to do the same. The central bank will announce whether or not they're going to increase the interest rate, and it's expected that they are. And then we have the OPEC meetings all day on Wednesday, the ADP non-farm on Wednesday also, which is just an estimate of the non-farm that will be released on Friday. Friday is the actual non-farm employment change, and that's the big mover, always the first Friday of every month. So that's coming up this Friday. And then we have a little bit of news also on Friday on the Canadian dollar. So lots of high impact news. Be sure and be aware of these. I do post this in my Telegram channel, and I post it before the news and after the news to let you know the results. So be sure and check forexfactory.com for your local time zones. All right, let's get back over into the trade setups that I have coming up for this week. And I do have a gold sell limit. Okay, we're looking at the 4-hour chart, and you can see we are right at 1660. As I've said, that's our support level, and I do expect that we're going to see a continuing bit of an increase. Not much, I don't expect much. You know, we have a really strong resistance, what used to be support, resistance now at 1680, and it's bounced off quite a few times in the last week from that 1680, but I think we might make it up to 1680, so I have a sell limit at 1678, just before the resistance. All right, so I expect us to make a little bit of a move up to try and test that resistance zone of around 1680, but I'll put my gold, my sell limit on gold just a little bit below that at 1678, and then likely probably looking to take profit around 1660. For the Euro US, no trade. Okay, I already have the trade still open from the previous week, as I showed you in the review, so I'm not going to take any additional trades, any buys or sells on this. It looks like it has the potential to start moving up. It looks like we're getting a change in direction, but I'm still bearish on the longer term chart, so I'm going to hold off on making any new decision on the Euro US. And same with the AUD US and the New Zealand US. These have been bearish. These two pairs have been bearish for so long. And right now the Australian dollar trading at 63 cents. If you're an American, you have US dollars. For 63 cents, you can buy an Australian dollar. And with these low prices, I really don't want to go any lower. And we have the interest rate announcement coming out on Tuesday on the Australian dollar. So that's going to be very, very volatile. We might see a big move up, could see a big move down. So I just rather not take a chance. Let this settle down this week and then maybe look at something for the upcoming week. New Zealand US at 55 cents. So for 55 US cents, you can buy a New Zealand dollar. It's really, really low. It has not been this low for 2.5 years. So I expect to see the Central Bank of New Zealand to come in and try and support their currency. The pound US, what do we have on that? I actually have a sell limit. Okay, it looked, let me just change that. I looked at that very, very carefully, but I typed the wrong thing. This should be a buy limit. Okay. Okay, buy limit with the price at 1.1050. Okay, a buy limit, not a sell limit, a buy limit on the pound US. The central bank came in last week to provide some measures to support the pound after it dropped down to 1.03, and that has helped the pound. Okay, all week long we saw a steady climb, and I think we're going to continue to see a little bit further rise with the pound. They probably will try and implement some more measures to provide better support for the currency. And on my indicators, on my indicators, I do see that we're getting a change in direction. With the strategy that I use, this could very well be turning into at least a short-term move up. So I have a buy limit on the pound at 1.1050. Then with those 4 Japanese pairs, the AUD JPY, no trade. I have no clear direction on that. Okay, it has been bearish, but my strategy shows me that I should be exiting that bearish run, and so no trade on the AUD JPY. I'll wait till I get more clear indication of which way it's going to go, whether it's going to continue down. Are the Japanese going to continue to strengthen the Japanese yen or not? You just have to wait and see. But for the moment, no clear direction on these Japanese pairs. And the Swiss JPY, all the same. However, on the GBP JPY, because we're talking about the pound, I do have a buy limit on that at 159.65. Okay? All right, so that's my trade setups for this first week of October, the fourth quarter of 2022. And remember, if you like these videos or you would like to subscribe and receive notification every time I make one, which is every Sunday before the market opens for the new week, just subscribe to the channel and click that little bell so you'll get notification. And I do occasionally send out a trade signal on my Telegram channel, and I also have an official line channel. So if you'd like to be added to that, just let me know and I'll put you in those groups where I send out an occasional, not every day, sometimes every day, sometimes twice a day, but not guaranteed that it's every day, but I do send out occasional signals when I see something happening in the market. Okay, thanks again for being here. I appreciate it. Don't forget to like, love, and share, and leave any comments or inquiries you have. I do reply to all comments. Thanks again. Have a great week of trading, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.